So imagine if somebody had gutted one of your fucking pigs. You just go out to the barn and you see a damn pig split from head to toe with its intestines all spilled out. What's the golden rule? You do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So you wouldn't want people to poison and kill your dog. You wouldn't want people to poison and kill your baby goat. They gutted a pig. They gutted a pig. They drove over a fence post, pulled up fence posts, vandalized and mutilated their cattle, killed 20 of their animals so far. They've only been there for 2 years. And just like Jeffrey Dahmer, after you've killed so many animals, right, then you get a taste for actually wanting to go above and beyond just killing animals. They killed a man. They killed a person. Donaciano Amaya. R.I.P. to Donaciano Amaya. At 6 p.m., they found the 43-year-old shot in the back of the head in a chicken coop. South Johnson Road, Rush, Colorado, eastern El Paso County, Colorado Springs. The cops stole their motion sensors and their surveillance camera. They can videotape you, but you can't videotape them. They're driving by brandishing firearms. As long as you got your piece holstered, well, you're not menacing with it, now are you? There's spray paint where they put, I guess it's spray paint, but they apparently wrote the N-word on a bunch of things inside of their house. How'd they get inside of their house? And then with all this crap that's happening, they're not allowed to have a surveillance camera. With all this crap that's happening, they can't have a motion. They're referred to as those BLM N-words. BLM N-words. Teresa Clark had called the police 46 times. Nicole Mallory called the police 47 times. Courtney Mallory called the police 11 times in the last 2 years. So I guess in terms of total amount, the Mallorys called more. They called 58 times. Teresa Clark only called 46. But you know, sometimes they all look like assholes, right? You show up to a scene and everybody's just a big old brawl. You know how many times that every time you run up to and there's just everybody's already fighting. Another 9 calls were made by other parties in the area. Okay, and another additional 13 field interview records associated with it. 13 field interview? Out of fucking almost 100 phone calls, they only interviewed 13 times. There's only 13 interviews. Seems like out of 100 times, if they're calling, you probably should interview somebody, 100 times. You just kind of sit here and be quiet. Kind of moving all over the place, you know that? So that's Simon Gertie, everybody. So, Colorado Public Radio, they said that the Mallorys were the first one to file the complaint. That's really the main fucking thing, isn't it? That's what I heard with domestic disputes. With domestic disputes, you got to be the first one. With domestic disputes, you got to be the first one to call. Because the one that calls it in is the presumed victim. And what I was trying to say before is when you have two people that's fighting, you don't know, what that shit's about. It does take two to tangle, but it also takes, one righteous person. The McCoys were no match for the Hatfields, but the McCoys knew right from wrong. So the McCoys were going to stand up for right. So you come across the fight. I think who fucking starts it, people want to make fun of it. Oh, he started it. That does fucking matter. That matters. It's whoever starts it, especially if you're just minding your own goddamn business. Oh, I was just minding my own goddamn business. I mean, they didn't just, they gutted a fucking pig and poisoned it, but they killed a fucking guy, shot him in the back of the fucking head. How cowardly. What a cowardly piece of shit. And then who fucking did that? You would think we all could agree that Donaciano Amaya didn't deserve to get shot and murdered. Who the fuck killed that That guy. Who the fuck killed that guy? There, maybe we all can, unite around that. Donna Siana Amio. Who the fuck killed? Shot him in the back of the head. 43. He had family. He had a son, I think. Just a farmhand. Who starts it fucking matters. It matters who starts it. Oh my fucking God. It matters who starts it. If you're just sitting underneath an apple tree, sitting there reading some Dick Gregory, No More Lies, just sweetly and innocently, just learning about Thomas Paine, how Thomas Paine got fucked over. He was an American revolutionary, and then by the end, he was not so great. I haven't read the story, but if you're innocently, sweetly reading Dick Gregory, I think he ran for the first black man to run for president. Underneath the tree, reading peacefully by yourself, and then some piece of shit comes up on you, starts swinging, attacking your body, attacking your person. You have a right to defend yourself. In fact, I want every person who's attacked, any innocent person who is attacked, if you're a perfect victim, go to town on your motherfucking, don't even go ape shit, just freak them. Xing Yi Quan, Jun Kido, Xing Yi Quan, Capoeira, Aikido, Ninjutsu, Tai Chi, Marines, Muay Thai, Musangwe, Krav Maga, and Krav Maga. So yeah, you have a right to defend yourself. After police released their internal records Tuesday, it was discovered that the Mallorys were in fact the first to contact police about a dispute over the easement in April 2021. And they didn't solve the fucking situation. And then they also said that they filed a complaint against the neighbors December 2021. So they were the first to contact the police about the easement and file the complaint against the neighbors December 2021. So April 2021, December 2021. There's a paper trail. There's records. Who started what? Who knows? But the Mallorys were the ones that called the police first. So they're the presumed victims. And the victims have victims' rights. In 1441, the slave trade actually began with the Portuguese. If you're in Florida, you're not going to find out about any of this. But there's a whole bunch of, basically, all the European nations were engaged. This was kings and queens. This was the Portuguese, the Spanish. I'm not sure if the Swedes or the Dutch were involved in it, but we had imperialists. They had colonies here, the Swedes and the Dutch, the French, the English, the Portuguese, the Spanish. And there was some deal with the damn English crown where basically they monopolized the damn trade, and then they would let everybody else in on it or some shit. Super fucked up. The Portuguese captured 12 Africans in Cabo Branco, modern-day Mauritania in North Africa, and brought them to Portugal as enslaved peoples. This is 1441, so this is less than 600 years ago. European trade of enslaved Africans began in the 1400s. The first example we have of Africans being taken against their will and being put on board European ships would be in 1441, says Goose Gasco. El Paso County, Rainbow Bright, an anti-racist and non-racist. Pinky Peak, are you anti-racist or just a non-racist? And you know what? Let's get rid of the social constructions, okay? I don't really see any of you white folks or your Pinky Peach, and actually not even black folks too. You're all, brown. Says mahogany. Okay, I want to hear mahogany. I want to hear Teresa Clark. I want to hear the views of Teresa Clark. What are Teresa Clark's view about race and racism and black folks? What does Teresa Clark think about black folks? I want to know about that Gearhart and that goddamn judge too. It's an easy question, but if you're a racist and I say, hey, what do you think about black folks? I mean, they're cool, right? They're all right. They're just like you and I. No difference. good and bad. Some are great, right? I love black people's joy. One of my favorite is black people's joy. Black people know how to have fun. Black people know how to have a good time. Black people are very expressive people. What's not to love about black folks? But I feel like if you're a racist, you'll stumble on that question. What do I think about black folks? Are you calling me a racist? No. Don't be so defensive. What do you think about our dark-skinned brothers? Because we're trying to, right? I guess black would be, I don't know, we all need a black power revolution. Black man is the original African man. It's the original human. So, we're all black. You can't really get rid of black. Black stays. Black stays forever. So what am I trying to say here? Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt wrote that Mrs. Clark provided him with more than 4 gigabytes worth of video and digital images documenting activity that he believes is criminal in nature. He said the Mallorys had taken out restraining orders against Teresa Clark. The Clarks used an easement to access their property from the intersection of Truckton Road and Laupy Road. That easement runs along the southern boundary of the Mallory property. The easement is located slightly more than 1 mile from a gate on Laupy Road, which provides access to Mallory property. One incident shows Nicole stopping her vehicle in front of Teresa's property. She then exits her vehicle, places her hands in the air and says, "Hands up, don't shoot," Gerhardt wrote. So what? Teresa Clark is the Caucasian neighbor, right? So you got Deputy Emery Gerhardt, Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt, and then you also have the judge. He's married to the 4th Judicial District Judge, the felony judge, one of the big ones. I don't know if she's the top dog. I don't think she's the chief, is she? The 4th District, they probably have a bunch of, it's Colorado Springs. You got 1 million people there. You probably got, 10 judges there? But he's married to one of them. So Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt isn't just a cop. He's a cop with political connections. And there is a conflict of interest there, but as long as he gets his arrest warrant signed, you should get him signed by a judge, but apparently even a fucking magistrate, you could just get him signed by a goddamn magistrate around Colorado Springs. That easement runs along the southern boundary of the Mallory property. The easement is located slightly more than 1 mile from a gate on Laupy Road, which provides access to the So there's apparently one access point they could go in and out. It's 40 acres, you fucking fuckers. Why don't you have 4 more fucking entrances on each side? It's a square, right? So, and then they got, I heard 640 to 1,000, maybe more acres. You can have another fucking entrance too. The easement runs along. You can have a fucking, what the fuck ever. I heard that the easement's on their property, so that means it's their own private road. The easement? What easement are you talking about? The easement that the government is eventually going to take care of, but they never fucking did? So actually you're just saying that piece of ground over there on your side of the tracks, that's our piece? No, it's not. The government doesn't take care of that road at all. So they're driving on their fucking road. The goddamn motherfucking Teresa Clark is driving on the Mallory's easement. Everybody's driving on the Mallory's. If you drive up and down on that road, if you drive up past their property. One incident shows Nicole stopping. So what? Hands up, don't shoot. Also heard that they went to get the cows. And as they walked away, they were just, didn't want to be shot and killed. So to an insecure white supremacist, you might think that they're doing a damn protest, but they were just getting their cows and they had gone to, I guess, onto somebody else's property. So they were nervous about getting shot and killed. We just getting our cows. We're just going to go right back home. People are fucking dicks. People are shitty. Wouldn't that be crazy if Teresa Clark considered herself a Christian? She does not give a damn about her neighbor. Teresa Clark calls the cops on the Mallorys all the goddamn time, fucking videotaping them like hypocrites are going to say, hey, you can't videotape us, but do as they say, not as they do. Teresa Clark and her elderly mother, what are their views on race? I mean, is Teresa Clark? I guess I should be open to Teresa Clark's side. Are they rainbow revolutionaries? I do lean towards the Mallorys on this, but I'm wondering if Teresa Clark understands that race is a social construction, and really, there's only pink and peach and mahogany. That's the only colors: pink, peach, and mahogany. I don't want to hear any of the other colors. Y'all need to go back to kindergarten and learn your colors. I see a bunch of pinky, peachy motherfuckers, a bunch of pale face, pinky, peachy, and a bunch of mahogany. Where is this black and white? You think everything's all black and white? It's not all black and white. None of it's black and white. Is Teresa Clark and Emery Gerhardt anti-racist? Because I think it's not enough to just be not a racist. I think we have a racist society. Since we have a racist society, it's not just don't be a racist, it's be against racism. Fuck racism. Fuck a racist. Motherfucker. Another video shows Nicole using some type of loud speaker or public address system where she is speaking of things that Teresa should pack for heaven. Now that's interesting. That kind of seems like an implied threat right there. Well, you should pack for heaven. A loudspeaker, a public address system. Just a CB or some kind of a bullhorn. Which, aren't you allowed to use a bullhorn on your own property? Gerhardt said he executed a search warrant on the Mallory property. Interesting. In late November. And what'd you find? A search warrant seized 3 surveillance cameras and 3 motion sensors that were directed at the Clark residence. Deputy Gerhardt says as he was executing that warrant, Gerhardt wrote that he observed unusual wiring coming from one of the transformers on one of the power poles. He contacted the Southeast Power Company Association, SEPCO, and an employee said that the power hookup to the transformer was not conducted by SEPCO. Gerhardt said that the theft charge stems from an incident in December where Mr. Mallory was seen crossing his fence line onto the easement. That's his fucking road. There he takes Miss Clark's trash can and loads it onto his truck before driving away. Gerhardt wrote the can is valued at $25. News 5 contacted Teresa Clark by phone Thursday afternoon, and she declined an interview, saying, "You guys are fake news." MAGA? Are you a MAGA piece of shit? You a big fucking right-wing son of a bitch? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love Donald? It could also strip them of their right to own firearms. So they own a large parcel. Like I said, it's about 640 to 1,000, maybe more. And then the other nearby parcels, including Teresa Clark's, are about 40 acres. So the Caucasians only have 40 acres and a mule. But somehow, Courtney Mallory was able to purchase, a bigger plot of land. A much bigger plot of land. So there's no question in terms of acreage who the man in that community is. And if you're an insecure, 40 acres is enough. 40 acres is, how many people don't even, we got homeless people. We got people that don't even have a shelter. And you're complaining about 40 acres? Teresa Clark, if you were so concerned about the harassment, you got 39 acres you could have gone to. Why didn't you, start like building a little shack? And do you not have a barn or a shack somewhere on the opposite side? I mean, there's over 1.4 miles of land between the Mallory homestead and the Clark homestead again. 1.4 miles? That person 1.5 miles away from me is pissing me off. Are they looking at you? Hey, he's looking at me. An easement divides the Clark. And then people do drive to the store and come back. But people also harass people too. We know that they've got harassed, like major fucking harassment. How come the Mallorys don't have protection 24/7? The easement divides the Clark and the Mallory properties, which holds the only access to several ranch properties, including the Clarks. So the Clarks, you need to pay a toll. You need to pay some money to the Mallorys. Or at least just be appreciative that, you're driving on their land to get to yours. And then when the hell's the government going to pave a damn road or whatever? Keep talking about this fucking easement. So that means it's a pencil. Some fucking state engineer, put a pencil on a fucking map. Eventually they're going to make a road. Eventually they're going to pave the road. But for right now, they're just going to let this property dispute go on and on and on. You know what makes for great neighbors? Nice, strong fence lines. Nice, strong, strict property lines. You know the one great thing about the war? About America's involvement in the war in Ukraine? We're defending another person. We're defending another person and their property. We're defending the borders. We should just build not a wall, on our southern or northern border. We should build a wall up and down Russia and Europe. Borders matter. If they're going to go ahead and mess with Ukraine's borders, they're kind of messing with everybody's borders. All for one and one for all. So the Clarks had complained that the Mallorys were on their property while on the easement. Police said that the Mallorys were able to be charged with felony stalking due to the cameras on their property. What? So they're saying felony stalking because of the cameras. And so that's why they took the cameras, I guess, for evidence or some crap. And apparently, maybe I should actually read that. The surveillance, something about surveillance has to be, it's not off and on or something. I forget, they're saying since the camera is always running, therefore you're stalking. You're not just doing a little surveillance. Surveillance is limited, to 1, 2, 3 days. If you want to give a general sense of how people are treating somebody. But they're saying but that's such bullshit. Go to the fucking bank. I want to go, Colorado Springs is a big city, so they got banks and they got restaurants. Anybody that has surveillance that's pointed either, inside the restaurant but out the windows or outside the restaurant. They got cameras outside. You're going to tell me that somehow is felony stalking? Why? Well, I put a camera outside here so that way nobody, breaks into the thing. That's not felony stalking. I think you're totally okay with doing that. The charge with the cameras had to do with tampering with the utility. According to the state statutes, you're not allowed to record other individuals on a lengthy basis. This is Gonzalez. Police said that the Mallorys would routinely arrive in the area within minutes of Teresa Clark going outside of her house. They would taunt her from the property line. Nicole Mallory is accused of sitting at her neighbor's bus stop, blocking the way, preventing her neighbor from getting their kid to... Why would they do that? To the bus stop. Nicole does not have any children who attend schools in the area. Police said... So, yeah, that means they're saying that she shouldn't have even been there, right? The whole point of her being there was just to prevent her neighbor from getting their kid to the bus stop. You're not going to get your kid to the bus stop. How dare you? Records show Nicole Mallory complained that her neighbor, Teresa Clark, was grazing animals on her land in the easement. Then on May 11th, 2021, Nicole and Courtney Mallory called the sheriff's office to report an unidentified male trespassing on their property. Deputies were able to locate the man, and they said he was just suffering from a medical episode and then taken to the hospital. They want to press charges on this trespasser, a medical episode. Yeah, or they're part of the fucking Klan. Some of those that run forces are also those that burn crosses. Among those was a complaint against Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt, who filed the stalking charges against the Mallorys following Courtney's arrest. The warrant itself had a $2,000 bond indicated, Roy Ball said Tuesday. However, at the time of booking, my intake staff realized the $2,000 bond was inconsistent with state statute based on this stalking charge for which he was being booked. My staff notified the courts, who confirmed the error and in turn sent the jail an updated copy of the warrant. So $6,000 bond. It went from a $2,000 bond to a $6,000 bond. There's over 1.4 miles of land between the Mallory homestead and the Clark homestead. In 1616, although not part of present-day America, Africans from the West Indies were also present in the English colony of Bermuda in 1616. So, you want to do the 1619 project, why not the 1616 project? The English had already brought slaves to the Americas. In Bermuda, 1616. Where do you think Jamestown got theirs? Where they provided expert knowledge of tobacco cultivation to the Virginia Company. Wow. So, goddamn, motherfucking English, if it wasn't for the slaves and their knowledge about tobacco cultivation, would the English have survived? As early as May 1616, blacks from the West Indies were already at work in Bermuda, providing expert knowledge about the cultivation of tobacco. Isn't tobacco a Native American Taino word? Hurricane and canoe and tobacco are all Taino words, I think. So I'm going to take a little drink break here. Got some virtues. One has to grow hard, but without ever losing tenderness. Che Guevara. So the sheriff's office didn't provide Denver 7 with records regarding the Mallory's dog being poisoned or other cases. I'm going to get a drink and take a break. I'm going to take a break. But what the fuck? Going through all the literature to see, get a full sense of the story. There is something that I think Nicole Mallory may have stepped a little too far. But for the most part, I'm still on the side of Courtney and Nicole Mallory. And the only thing that's going to win me back would be if Teresa Clark gets out there in front of the media and is more personable and kinder and more wonderful. Because the Mallory seem like they're salt of the earth people. Just a husband and wife want to goddamn plant some fucking tomatoes. What's it to you? Plant some tomatoes, plant some pumpkins, plant some corn. That's the first merit badge for Boy Scout. Can you raise an acre of corn? Are they going to be able to raise an acre of corn? They're going to have to deal with all this bullshit while they're, trying to raise some crops and animals. Farming is hard enough on its own, I think a lot of it is farming while black in America. I think so, too. So more coming up.